All right, our last step here is going to be to assemble our bridge. So you can see all of our parts are in a part studio. If I click at the bottom left here, it says Part Studio 1. That's where I made the parts. But usually there's at least one other tab, and if not, you can add a tab that's known as an assembly, has a different logo, different icon here. So when I click assembly, this is where I assemble parts that have already been made. So if I'm in this area, I can click insert, and I can select my parts. Part 1 was my truss, and part 2 was my popsicle stick. Click the green check mark. And now what I can do is I can make a rule for how they connect. So at the top, I have all these different rules. There's fastened, revolute, slider, planar, cylindrical. These are different rules about how they move relative to each other. I'm going to click fastened mate. This is as if you glue things together. So the way you mate things is that you select two mates, and they will force them to touch. So after when I have fasten mate open, I can hover over this side of the popsicle stick, and you'll see there's different places that my mouse can snap to. These are mate connectors. So I can hover over, let's say this one right here on the edge on the side of it, and if I click, you'll see up here it says mate connector of part 2. Now I need to select a second one. I'm going to zoom in over here, and I'm going to connect it right, let's say, here. Okay. Now, you can see that these didn't quite line up. So there's also these two options here with flip and rotate or reorient. I can move them all around to try to get those two mate connectors the direction that I want them. So you might need to play around, and that's it. That's pretty much it. Let's view it from the top here and take a good look. So now the issue here is that those two mate connectors, when they're mated, they aren't. This popsicle stick isn't fully into the slot on the truss. So I can also use this option called offset to move it relative to the mate connector. So you can see this green line going up. That's the Y direction. So I can adjust this by, let's say, 1/8 of an inch. And you can see that shifted up. If everything looks like the way I want it to be connected, then I can just click this green check mark and be done. And that's how I mate things together. Now I can continue to import different parts. So let's say I inserted another bridge part, another truss. Let's select my mate. And I'm going to use the top part of this popsicle stick, which means I would want to fasten that to the top of this truss. Oops, it's hard to zoom in here. Right. Oops. Right there. Let's do this from the top. So this needs to be scooted down a little bit more. So I'm going to select offset in the Y direction. It needs to go the opposite direction of this green line, so it'll be -1/8. There we go. And click the green check mark, and everything snaps in place. You can see now I'm starting to assemble my truss with cross members. And I would continue to do that with all my cross members. All right. Good luck. Ask questions if you need them.